Welcome back, listeners. Ready to explore another fascinating corner of the post-apocalyptic universe.
Always up for a good deep dive, especially one as intriguing as this one seems to be.
Today, we're diving headfirst into Paris in 2073 AD Time Traveler's Journal, a world where Paris stands still, literally frozen in time, but without a single human soul around.
Now, deserted cityscapes aren't exactly new territory in post-apocalyptic fiction, are they?
True, but that's where this one sets itself apart. It isn't just about crumbling buildings and empty streets. It's this haunting picture of a city we think we know. Paris completely reclaimed by nature.
And our guide to this silent city.
A lone time traveler armed with nothing but his wits, a notebook, and a whole lot of questions. And based on the journal entries, the guy is seriously freaked out, but in a good way, of course.
In a, I'm not sure I want to turn this page, but I absolutely have to kind of way.
Exactly. Right off the bat, the author throws us into this incredibly vivid setting. Think the Louvre, but instead of tourists, you've got vines crawling through the shattered glass pyramid.
Talk about a contrast. And the reviewers seem to agree. This isn't just any post-apocalyptic landscape. It's that familiarity of Paris, a place known for its beauty and romance, now swallowed by nature's quiet persistence.
It makes you realize how easily the things we build can crumble, how nature has a way of patiently reclaiming what was hers.
It's unsettling, yet oddly beautiful, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. But as if navigating a crumbling city overrun by who knows what isn't enough, there's this whole other layer of mystery woven throughout the journal entries.
The quantum device they keep mentioning.
You got it. It's like this constant thread of what the heck is this thing and what does it have to do with humanity's disappearance?
So we're dealing with a post-apocalyptic mystery. Sign me up.
Oh, and did I mention that this quantum device supposedly has the power to manipulate reality itself?
Okay, now you're really piquing my curiosity.
What?
Reality manipulation. That's some next level stuff.
Tell me about it. And that's where things get really interesting because our time traveler stumbles upon clues about this device scattered throughout Paris. Cryptic messages scrawled on metro walls, ancient texts hinting at its power, even a hidden safe with a string of numbers that could be a code.
So it's a treasure hunt through the ruins of Paris. But I definitely want to know what happens next.
Me too. It's like Da Vinci Code meets I Am Legend. But instead of solving riddles to find a hidden treasure, he's piecing together the mystery of humanity's vanishing act.
And all this against the backdrop of a city that's both eerily familiar and completely alien. The authors really managed to create a palpable sense of atmosphere, haven't they?
Absolutely. And this is just the beginning. Wait till you hear what happens in Chapter 9. So remember that memory stick our time traveler found, the one tucked away in that hidden safe? Well, Chapter 10 is like diving headfirst into the world of code-breaking and digital secrets.
Ooh, the plot thickens. It's like those movies where they're trying to crack the code before the timer runs out, except in this case, the stakes are way higher than just stopping a bomb.
Right. It's the fate of humanity we're talking about. And the author doesn't hold back on the technical details either. You've got encryption algorithms, ancient languages, and even some historical trivia thrown in for good measure.
Sounds like our time traveler needs to be quite the Renaissance man to crack this code.
Oh, he definitely rises to the occasion, but not without some struggles along the way. There are moments where you're literally on the edge of your seat, wondering if he's going to be able to pull it off.
I can see why the reviewers were raving about the pacing of this part of the book.
It's a real page-turner. But you know what's really interesting? As he's piecing together these clues, he uncovers something even more intriguing about the quantum device. It's not just about manipulating objects or bending the laws of physics. It can literally rewrite reality itself.
Okay, now that's a terrifying thought. Imagine having that kind of power at your fingertips. The potential for both good and bad is astronomical.
Exactly. And the book really makes you grapple with that duality. What would we do with that kind of power? Would we use it for good? Or would it ultimately be our undoing? It's a question that resonates even more today, don't you think?
Absolutely. We're living in an age of rapid technological advancement, and sometimes it feels like we're rushing headlong into the unknown without fully understanding the consequences.
Right. It's like we're so focused on what we can do that we often forget to ask ourselves if we should.
It's that classic dilemma of progress versus responsibility, and this book seems to be holding a mirror up to our own anxieties about where our technological prowess might be leading us.
Exactly. But let's get back to our intrepid time traveler. So he's managed to decode these files, right? And within those encrypted lines of code, he finds a vital clue, a symbol. And get this, it's the same symbol he saw earlier in the journal, the one etched into the walls of those abandoned buildings.
Hold on. Are you saying there's a physical connection to the quantum device? It's not just some abstract concept anymore.
You got it. And not just any connection. The symbol acts like a map, leading him step by step toward the device's actual location.
Now that's what I call a plot twist. It's like the author saying, okay, you thought this was just a philosophical exploration of technology and its impact. Think again.
Right. It's that perfect blend of intellectual stimulation and heart-pounding suspense. And just when you think you figured it all out, the author throws another curveball. Remember how those symbols were like a map? Well, guess where they lead our time traveler?
Don't tell me. It's the Eiffel Tower, isn't it?
You guessed it. Our time traveler ends up right at the foot of the Eiffel Tower, the symbol of Paris, now standing as a silent sentinel over a city lost to time.
It's a brilliant move by the author, using such an iconic landmark as the backdrop for this final confrontation with the truth.
It really makes you wonder what's going through his mind at that moment. Standing there with the weight of this discovery, this potential answer to humanity's disappearance.
It's like that moment in those old adventure movies where the explorer finds the lost city, but there's this underlying sense of be careful what you wish for.
Right, like you've spent this whole time chasing after the truth, but now that it's within reach, you're not so sure you want to face it.
Especially when that truth might involve a device capable of rewriting reality itself. It makes you wonder, what if humanity's downfall wasn't some external force, some natural disaster, but our own doing?
The thought is definitely a tough pill to swallow, and it's something a lot of the reviewers picked up on. It's not just about the adventure, the mystery, it's that underlying question of how our relationship with technology could be our undoing.
A cautionary tale for the digital age, you could say. But I think it goes even deeper than that. One of the reviews I read described it as a love letter to the resilience of nature. Even in the face of such loss, such devastation, there's this sense that the earth endures.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Even though Paris is this, well, post-apocalyptic shell of its former self, there's also this strange beauty to it. Like nature is slowly but surely reclaiming what was lost, erasing the scars of human presence.
It's a powerful image. And it's something we see reflected in our own world, isn't it? Those stories of abandoned buildings being taken over by plants, animals returning to areas once dominated by humans. It makes you realize that nature has a way of finding a way, even when we're not around to see it.
Definitely. It's a reminder that as much as we like to think we're in control, we're really just a small part of something much larger than ourselves.
Exactly. And that brings us back to that central question. What does it mean to be human in a world increasingly shaped by our own creations?
It's a question with no easy answers, but it's something this book really forces you to confront. And for me, that's the mark of a truly impactful story. It stays with you long after you've finished reading it, prompting you to think about the world in a new light.
Absolutely. It's not just entertainment. It's a call to action. A reminder that we have a responsibility to be mindful of the choices we make today and the impact those choices will have on the world of tomorrow.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into Paris in 2073 AD Time Traveler's Journal. We've explored the ruins, grappled with the mysteries, and confronted some uncomfortable truths about ourselves.
It's been quite a journey. And like all good journeys, it's left us with more questions than answers.
But hey, isn't that what keeps life interesting? So to our listeners out there, we leave you with this. If you could travel to a future Earth devoid of humans, what one place or artifact would you seek out to understand what happened and why? Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.